Well, the movement, as you know, started in 2009, just kind of a spontaneous uprising, so to speak. You remember that Rick Santelli in February of '09 had just on live TV talked about holding a tea party in Chicago. He was so fed up with some of the fiscal policies that were being put forth. And that really resonated with people. And there were some national websites, conservative websites, that were trying to promote that idea. 2 to 3 weeks later, we had our first rally down at Ross's Landing, right next to the river. And we had easily 2,500 people, maybe as many as 3,000. But you know, you have to have, there's a time and a place for rallies like that. But a movement can't be about just rallies. Of course, the media latched on to the rallies, and they began to measure success of the movement by the rallies. That's why I think the media has written us off. Let's say you're in a church. You don't have revivals every week, you know. You might have one a year. But during every other week, you know, there's church going on, and you've got a lot of other things, and there's activities and ministries. Well, it's the same thing in the Tea Party. I know with the Chattanooga Tea Party, and as I compare notes with other Tea Party leaders around the state and country, I think the same holds true for many of them as well. While we're concerned about Washington, and we continue to keep an eye on Washington and kind of keep our toe in the water, so to speak, in Washington, it's not the driving motivation for why we exist and for what we're doing. You know, as much as we had hollered and screamed and yelled and protested and written letters and talked to our elected officials in Washington about our concerns up there, they were pretty much deaf, and they were falling on deaf ears, our protests and our concerns. And they continued marching on, raising debt ceilings, adding more money to the national debt and so forth. But in Chattanooga, in the period of less than 90 days, we changed the landscape, you know. And so what that taught us was we can make a difference locally. We probably can't make a difference individually or even collectively as an organization, or even more so nationally as a movement. Washington is so broken that no matter what we did, they weren't going to change course easily, and perhaps never. So we began to realize that where the action is at and where we can make a difference is local. And we've heard the old worn out saying, all politics is local, and we found that out.
Come to the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You can be seated. Okay, I'd like to recognize first-timers. I've met a few first-timers, but if this is your first time ever to a Chattanooga Tea Party meeting, please raise your hand. Let us recognize you. Okay? Great. Thank you for coming. And old-timers, be sure and welcome the new folks there. Also, we have, I've seen a few elected officials and also some candidates. Chattanooga Tea Party does not endorse candidates. That's something that we just decided years ago. We do tend to encourage, we tend to promote people that we like, but we don't actually come out and say we're endorsing this candidate. But we've got to educate our friends and neighbors, and there's not a lot of time, but that means they don't have to retain it too long either, okay? So you just tell them tomorrow, go to the poll, and most people ask me, all my family and friends and relatives ask me, and they do the same to you. They ask you, how should I vote this period? So tell them, okay? Get on Facebook, get on your email, get on your phone, and tell people. There's two words I'm going to encourage you to remember tonight. And the first word when you walk out that door is replace, okay? That's the first word. The second word, if you can't remember it, take a sign with you. It says against, okay? And it seems like we're really negative here. Against, replace, no, whatever. But all that means is we're positive about the issue on the other side of the coin, okay? They just phrase it in a way that it makes us answer the question negatively because we're positive about the other side of the coin. If I'm going to assume that most of you are pro-life in this room, if all of a sudden there's an ordinance on the ballot that said, shall we support abortion? Would be negative. I would be. but it's because I'm positive on life. Okay, so don't worry about the fact that they may say you're negative. No, it's you're positive on replacing the negative values, the liberal values that these justices have supported for too long. So, okay, I've talked too long. Welcome, Susan Kessler.
One of the things that we see with our judicial system is erosion, a process over modern history where we have just become more and more liberal. And it doesn't happen with one decision, and it doesn't really happen with two decisions, but it happens over time. And I know y'all live in a hilly area of this great state, and I'm sure for many of you, you've gone past a hill or something, and every day you really don't know the difference in it. And then one day, a year or 5 or 10 years later, the entire landscape has changed. And I think that that's what we're looking at, not just for the judiciary here in Tennessee, but just in general. And I think we got to stop the erosion. We got to stop it first. And if we can stop it, then we can move a different direction. And I believe August 7th is about stopping it.